Listen up, people. It's about your story. It's about who you are. It's about who you're going to be and how you're going to be remembered through this coronavirus bullshit and afterwards, through the time that you pass on from this life and your legacy that you leave. And that's what this video is about, and hopefully will provide you with some information just to help you understand your story and the power of your story and how you can own it even during a time of worldwide crisis like we're in right now. So what do I mean when I talk about your story? I talk about everything that's happened to you in your life up to this point. And let me be the first to tell you that I've had a lot of shit that I've been through in my life. And I wouldn't change any of it. I've been through the death of my dad last year. I've been through business ups and downs. I've been through relationships. I've been married for 18 years. You name it. So what is your story? Now I'll go back, because a lot of those things I said, some of them were good. I've been through a lot of crazy stuff in my life as well. And I've done a lot of stupid things. And I'll be the first to admit that. But you know what? It's my story. It's my story. And I'm not ashamed of my story. My story gives me power, because without all those life experiences and without all the things that I've been through and the things that I've learned, I wouldn't be who I am today, or where I am today, or able to do what I do today, because I had to have those life experiences to be able to have the perspective in order to help other people, and in order to fulfill my life's mission of relieving human suffering. And so I think it's important for you to understand, even in a time of crisis, even when you feel like everything is going to hell in a handbasket, even when you think that tomorrow could be the end, you have to own your story. And guess what? All of this that's going on right now in this 2020 coronavirus COVID-19 outbreak is part of all of our stories. Every single one of us. The people who are sick, the healthcare workers, the people who are losing everything financially, the people who are losing their jobs, the people whose businesses are failing, the people who have sick loved ones, the people who have passed away and moved on from this life. It's part of their story. And then it's part of the collective story as well. The collective story of our period of time right now. And there's a lot of powerful things going on right now, and powerful lessons that we can learn. And I think one of the things is not to be ashamed of your own story, and to always know that tomorrow the sun comes up and it's a new day, and you can create a new day right now. All you have to do is mentally wipe the slate clean and move on, and allow healing between you and someone that you may have an issue with, or just enable the healing for yourself, and to be able to heal and to be stronger and to move forward as it relates to these rough times that we're going through. And I'm not going to tell you it's not easy. I'm not going to tell you that it is easy. It's not easy. I'm not going to tell you that it's not going to be painful, because it's going to be painful. But you'll be better for it in the end, just like I will and just like everybody else will. So let's talk about what it means to own your story. So there's a lot of stuff going on right now, a lot of things happening. There's a lot of things that are making a lot of us very uncomfortable. Those are related to financial issues, health issues, family issues, being quarantined, sometimes with people that we may not want to be quarantined with, having kids home all the time. Those are things that, whatever it brings up for you is fine, but you can either focus on the negative side of those things or focus on the positive side of those things. I think it's important to focus on the positive. So let's talk about finances right now, because that seems to be something that causes a lot of people a lot of pain. And, in the end, what does it take to live? I can't recall a time where I've met someone or I've been to a funeral and they said, yeah, he passed away. He just ran out of money. I've never had that come up. Now, I'm not saying it's not happened, and I'm not making light of the fact. I'm just saying I've never been to a funeral and they said, yeah, if he would have just had more money, he would have made it. So what exactly does it mean to own that as it relates to your story? It's not embarrassing if you lose your job related to the coronavirus and that pandemic. It's not embarrassing if your business fails. It's not embarrassing if you can't pay your bills. It's not embarrassing if you have to ask for help. None of those things define who you are, and they certainly don't define you for the rest of your life. And I think a lot of times people wrongly get mixed up and feel like they're defined by those things. And that's okay, but I don't want you to feel like that, because it's not true. If you need help, you need to ask for help. It takes a lot more courage to ask for help and to seek out resources and to push through a problem than it does just to throw your hands in the air and say to hell with it and woe is me and just be done with it. Okay? So don't be afraid. Don't be scared. It's okay to have those feelings of being afraid, feelings of being scared, but don't let that define you, because that's not your story. You get to write your story. You get to choose how you respond. And you may look at me and you think, this guy is crazy because he doesn't understand that I can't even pay whatever the bill is. And trust me when I tell you that I understand. I run a business. I run a household. And I understand. I get it. It's a difficult time, a tough time for everyone. But we all get to choose how we respond and how our story is written as it's related to this pandemic, and especially related to the financial issues. Because most people, a lot of people, maybe all people, maybe not all people, I don't know, but they determine worth and viability and such on the ability to earn and how much money they make and whether they can pay their bills and those type of things. Now is the time for you to shatter any beliefs that you might have related to your identity and your story being tied to how much money you make, whether you can pay your bills, what kind of car you drive, and those type issues. You've got to break free from those chains. And now is as good a time as any to do that. And the way that you do that is by being honest about your need for help, not being able to pay your bills. If you can't pay your mortgage right now, or your rent, you need to contact the landlord, contact your mortgage company, reach out to them, communicate with them, get the help that's out there. If you've lost your job, then you need to reach out for help, because there's unemployment aspects. If you're running a business and your business is failing because of economic issues related to this pandemic, there are resources out there. Now, I have no opinion whatsoever about what should or shouldn't be done, any of that stuff. I'm not a politician and I have no control over those things. But there are resources available now in many countries, not just the United States, that can be tapped into if certain criteria are met. So I would challenge you not to draw in and shy away from asking for help if you need it, because that takes a lot of courage to ask for help. And so I want to honor you and to commend you for taking that step, for you, for your family, for your health, for your well-being, whatever the situation is. Take the step and ask for help, because it's out there and it's available. And if you qualify for it, then you need to tap into it and you need to use it, because that's part of your story. If you can't pay your bills, don't worry about that. Don't worry about it being embarrassing or whatever. Like, this is survival mode. And so you don't need to worry about what somebody may think or whatever about your inability to make ends meet right now, because this is a pandemic that has affected people worldwide. And yes, it is very overwhelming to think about in terms of the totality of the circumstances, the totality of how is this going to affect everything long term? How does this look a year from now? How does it look 2 years from now? But don't focus on those things. You need to focus on what you need to do today in order to make tomorrow better. And then tomorrow, you'll focus on tomorrow. Don't worry about 3 months from now. Don't worry about 6 months from now. If you're applying for an emergency loan or a paycheck protection loan for your employees, and you just need to focus on that. Don't focus on whether it's going to be able to be forgiven in the future, or whether you're going to need more money after this. Whatever the situation might be, just focus on taking the steps today to work through it, because you're writing your story. Let's talk about one other thing about writing the story, and then I'll close up on this one. So what does it mean to write your story? Well, you get to choose how you are being, okay? We're human beings, not human doings, okay? So you get to choose if you want to be nice, if you want to be loving, if you want to be kind, if you want to show up for the people that are important to you, your family, your friends, whoever it might be, subject to social distancing, of course. You get to choose how you're going to be, okay? Are you going to be angry? Are you going to be mad? Are you going to be upset? Are you going to take it out on other people? Or are you going to learn how to control your emotions and choose a better feeling thought and to deal with those things in a healthy way? Sometimes professional help is needed for that. And certainly that is something that takes a lot of courage to do. It is not something to shy away from. And so if you need that help, then you need to reach out for it. But you get to choose how you are being and the steps that you take in order to write your story. And in the end, we're not defined or remembered for the stuff that we had, or the cars that we drove, or the businesses that we built, or the money that we've made. We're remembered by the person that we are and were to the people that we love and that love us. And that's what the most important thing is right now, more than anything. You get to write your story, okay? And I would challenge you to be nice, to be kind, to be loving, to be all those things. And that's what you'll be remembered for. This is just a blip on the radar. We think it's a big deal right now, and it is for the collective consciousness of the world, because it's an awakening and it's a refocusing on what's important. And you need to really focus on what's your story going to be, okay? And in closing here, I just want you to know that everything is always working out for you. It may not feel like it right now, but it is. It's working out for me too. And it wasn't until I started believing that things started to change in my life. And I know that I've been preparing for these times for the last 2.5 years, doing the work, focusing on myself, focusing on going within and digging deep and figuring out within myself why I do things. Why do I do certain things? And is that the best way to be or not? And you can do that starting today. You can do that starting today. You can learn to meditate. You can read books. You can do all the things that it takes in order to focus and to be able to write the best story that you can write, and to be able to believe that everything is always working out for you. And I challenge you to believe that. If you're down and out in the next few days, next few weeks, next few months, I don't know how long this is going to go on, write it down. Write it 10 times, write it 100 times. Everything is always working out for me. And eventually, once you do that enough, then you're going to train your brain to actually believe that. So whenever you go out into the world and you're with other people and you're conducting business or working or whatever, instead of you having a preconceived notion that things aren't going to work out, you're always going to believe that things are going to work out. And guess what starts to show up in massive amounts in your life? Guess. Things start working out for you. And that's a miracle. And I challenge you to be a miracle worker and to rewrite your story and to own your story. Don't ever be ashamed of things that you do or things that happen to you, because that's not what defines you. What defines you is your overall story and how you are and how you're going to be.